This is Jack London Square in Oakland, California. And a classic EMD F40PH is running down the middle of the street. Number 90215 wears a retro Caltrans livery and is named after Bakersfield, California. But hold on a minute, rewind that. That's not a locomotive at all. The engine is actually back here, pushing the train. The piece of equipment in the lead is what's called a non-powered control unit, or NPCU. And these things serve two main functions. First, they have the same controls as a locomotive and enable the engineer to operate from either end of the train. And second, they have baggage compartments. So it's basically a cab car and baggage car in one. And combine cab with baggage and, well, you get cabbage. And no, I'm not going to be talking about rail cars filled with cabbage in this video, but man, that's a lot of the stuff right there. Of course, these NPCUs are used in push-pull service. You've probably noticed that modern diesel-electric locomotives in North America don't have cabs on both ends. If they did, it might make sense to just uncouple the engine and move it to the other end of the train, assuming there was a track where it could run around the consist, but that would take a lot of time. Now, another option would be to use something called a Y. It's kind of like a three-point turn for a train, but again, this takes time, not to mention a lot of real estate. Now, more traditional cab cars look like this one. It's basically a coach with a cab at one end, and you can see cab cars in use around the world. The coaches that make up a train that runs in push-pull service have specialized cables installed that connect them to the locomotive. Okay, back on the subject of cabbage cars. They are former locomotives that have had their diesel engines, alternators, mechanical equipment, and traction motors removed. Amtrak converted more than 20 of these, starting in the mid-1990s. Behind the operator's cab, a baggage compartment was installed along with a roll-up door for loading luggage. But not every unit got a roll-up door on the side. For example, the NPCU used in Amtrak's 40th anniversary exhibit train looks just like a normal EMD F40PH in the Phase 3 paint scheme. This unit also got a head-end power generator to supply electricity to the exhibit train. There are currently no EMD F40PH locomotives used by Amtrak today. They served the railroad for more than 20 years. The first of these workhorses were delivered to Amtrak in 1976. Adapted from the EMD GP40-2, they were intended to be used in short-haul service with the EMD SDP40F hauling long-distance trains. That locomotive had some issues, and the F40PH would soon have to fill the void. But ultimately, it served Amtrak well over the years. The General Electric Genesis series locomotives would begin replacing the F40PH in 1993, when the first of those engines were delivered to Amtrak. Locomotives in the Genesis series are now being replaced by the Siemens Charger. Probably the most obvious thing you'll notice on an NPCU is the roll-up doors on either side, but there's one more interesting feature. All the units, except the one outfitted for the exhibit train, have 5-digit numbers, with a 90 added to the beginning of the unit's original road number. Also, the roof fans and vents have been removed. But they still have those great horns that I love to hear on Amtrak equipment. Alright, so this is kind of interesting. One of Amtrak's NPCUs, number 90225, was actually converted into a broadcast car to transmit Good Morning America's Whistle Stop Tour live from a train in 2008. Also, the North Carolina Department of Transportation has made NPCUs out of some old F59PH locomotives. So, I hope you've enjoyed this quick look at an unusual piece of equipment. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.